Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam to all the devotees. Let's begin our discussion on our daily class. Today we are seeing 8.9 and 10. Before starting, let's offer our prayers to the Lordships and then start with the discussion. Om Adnyantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So we are seeing two shlokas today. Shloka number 1 is 8.9 and the another one is 8.10. We'll recite the verse, read the translation, and then we will read the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. 8.9 Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram Anoraniyam Anusmaredya Sarvasya Dhataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Purush Parastat Kavim Puranam Anusasitaram Anoraniyam Samanusmaredya Sarvasya Dhataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat Kavim Puranam Anusasitaram Anoraniyam Samanusmaredya Sarvasya Dhataramachintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastad. Translation: one should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature. So here, Krishna is telling Arjuna that how one should meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like how one can think of the Supreme Lord and he can remember the Lord. So in this chapter, uh, Krishna is telling Arjuna in the previous shlokas that how one can remember Krishna, and we know that in the 8th chapter, in the starting part, Krishna is telling Arjuna that one should remember Supreme Lord every time. So Smaranam, that process is explained here in this chapter very nicely. So because to attain the Supreme Lord, because that uh, the name of the chapter is also attaining the Supreme. So when we want to attain at the time of death, we have to remember Krishna. And in this shloka, in the previous shloka, Krishna is telling that one should remember at every time. So, and to to remember every time, how one should think the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or how one should meditate upon Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is explained in this shloka. Next shloka, 8.10. प्रयाणकाले मनसा चलेन भक्त्या युक्तो योगबलेन चैव भ्रुवोर्मध्ये प्राणमवे अवेश्य सम्यक् सतं परं पुरुषम् उपैति दिव्यम् प्रयाणकाले मनसा चलेन भक्त्या युक्तो योगबलेन चैव भ्रुवोर्मध्ये प्राणमवेश्य सम्यक् सतं परं पुरुषम् उपैति दिव्यम् प्रयाणकाले मनसा चलेन भक्त्या युक्तो योगबलेन चैव भ्रुवोर्मध्ये प्राणमवेश्य सम्यक् सतां परं पुरुषम् उपैति दिव्यम्. Translation. One who at the time of death fixes his life hair between the eyebrows and by the strength of the yoga, with an undeviating mind, engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here in this shloka, Yoga Mishra Bhakti is explained, like how one is doing a devotion, but with the yoga, one is who is a practitioner of yoga, how he can uh, remember the Lord, or how he can meditate on the Lord is given in this shloka. So we'll see the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada for both the shlokas, and then we'll have the discussion over these two shlokas. So in the first chapter, first shloka, that is shloka number 9, uh, Krishna is telling Arjuna that one should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything. One who knows everything means who is a knower of all the yogas. Just a minute. Yeah. So here in this chapter, in this shloka number 9, Krishna is telling Arjuna the 10 ways to think of Krishna in different ways. So there are 10 ways we get from here by which, by practicing these 10 ways, we can remember Krishna at every time. So first way is understanding that Krishna is the knower of everything. So it is said here Kavi. Kavi means what? The one who knows everything. So knower of everything means what? Krishna is knower of past, present, and future. So sorry. Yeah. One who knows everything. So it's Krishna is he is the supreme person. As he is uh, from the he knows past, present as well as future. As he was from the Anadikal, he he knows our past. He knows everyone's past. He knows our future, everyone's future also, and present also he knows. So Krishna, one who is knower of everything. That is the first um, we can think of, that Krishna is knower of everything, and we can remember Krishna. So even if we in our day-to-day life we can practice this, that yes, I don't know what is happening. If someone is cheating us, or if someone is not helping us, we need that help or we need that attention. But Krishna knows everything. In that way, we should think that Krishna is knower of everything. So he knows our past, what we have done, and he knows our future, what is best for us, that he will going to happen. So, but I will not like I will do my activities, or I will do my duties with a full perfection, full give my 100% to my duties. So in that way we should think and we should meditate upon Krishna. Second is as he who is the oldest. So Krishna is Ajanma, Aja. So he who is the oldest. All uh, all living beings, or all the existing world is existing because of Krishna. So Krishna is the oldest person, and everything is emanating from his own uh, energies, or from his own. So Krishna is knower of everything, as well as he is the oldest of the old. Like he is the oldest, and um, every living being is born out of Krishna. Then third is he is the controller. So Krishna is the controller of everything. Everything is under his control. Then fourth is who is smaller than the smallest. Anu, Anur, Ane. So he is the smaller than the smallest. The exact like even we know the size of a soul is 1/10,000 of part of the tip of the hair. So even smaller than that, the Krishna can be. So Krishna, one who is smaller than the smallest. If we see anything micro level or anything beyond the like what it is like 10 raised to angstrom level, 10 raised to minus 10 meter. So even we when then also we can understand, oh, Krishna is smaller than the smallest. Even whatever the small thing in this world exists, smallest than that is Krishna. So when we in our day-to-day life we can understand and we can meditate upon Krishna by doing this, by thinking in such a way that Krishna is smaller than the smallest. Then one who is maintainer of everything. So in the smaller than the smallest, there are two things are given. As Krishna is smaller than the smallest, he can enters into each atom. Therefore, Krishna is there in everyone's heart as well as in every atom. Krishna is there, and he enters into the heart of living entity, who is 1/10,000 of the tip of the hair. So our soul is 1/10,000. Like we are 1/10,000 of the tip of the hair, and in our heart, Krishna is there as the Shirodakshai Vishnu. So he is the smallest than the smallest. Who is the maintainer of everything? That we can understand that Krishna is the maintainer of everything. He maintains all things, every aspect of the material world or the spiritual world. Everything is maintained by Krishna. Krishna maintains his devotees in their life, how things are happening. That also Krishna personally does. Then how many things over? One, two, three, four, five over. Sixth is Krishna, who is beyond all material conception. So all material conception means in this material world, uh, we are existing in this material world, but Krishna, who can balance all the planets by his own energy. So, just because of Krishna's energy, everything is balanced. So, all big planets are floating in the sky by his energy. And Krishna is Krishna is in the seventh chapter also. Krishna says that it is everything is maintained by the Krishna, means matta sarva pravartate, means it's like a string and pearls are strung around the string. It's like Krishna is maintaining everything, like that everything is there in this material world also. So, and Krishna is beyond all material conception. Then the eighth thing is, seventh thing is, Krishna is inconceivable. Inconceivable means achintya. Achintya, it's like we don't even understand how Krishna is, and he is beyond our thinking capability. So we will never understand, and beyond our logic and speculation. Then, um, as he is achintya, um, we will never understand how Krishna's energy is beyond our thinking jurisdiction. And logic and philosophical speculation cannot touch him. So, with a logic and philosophical speculation, we cannot understand Krishna completely. Then, the sign of real intelligence is accept the principle of Shastra as it is and avoid useless arguments and um, speculation. So, by doing this, we can understand that Krishna is the greatest and Krishna is the Achintya. Achintya Vedavet Tattva also we know. So Krishna is the Achintya, inconceivable. We don't even understand by our uh, this intelligence. Then in the eighth, and who is always a person. That eighth is always a person, as indicated by the word Rupam. So Krishna is always a person. Krishna is the Purusha, all other things are Prakriti. Like that in the 10th chapter also it is explained. So Krishna, who is always a person. So by remembering all these 8 way, we can meditate upon Krishna or meditate on the Supreme Person. Now the ninth and 10th is we can think that he is luminous like the sun. So in the solar system or in the planets, the main planet is the sun. Like that, the everywhere Krishna is the main planet, like main like the sun. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature. So these are the 10 ways. First one was Krishna knows everything. He is the oldest. He is a controller, smaller than the smallest, maintainer of everything, beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable and always a person, luminous like the sun, and he is a transcendental beyond the material nature. By this all 10 process, we can think of Krishna. So in the purport also the same thing is given. Just we will read the purport. The process of thinking of the Supreme is mentioned in this verse. The foremost point is that he is not impersonal or void. One can meditate on something impersonal. One cannot meditate on something impersonal or void. That is very difficult. The process of thinking of Krishna, however, is very easy and is factually stated herein. First of all, the Lord is Purusha, a person. We think of the person Rama and the person Krishna. And whether one thinks of Rama or Krishna, what he is like in described in this verse of Bhagavad-gītā. The Lord is Kavi, that is, he knows past, present, and future, and therefore knows everything. He is the oldest personality because he is the origin of everything. Everything is born out of him. He is also the supreme controller of the universe, and he is the maintainer and instructor of the humanity. He is smaller than the smallest. The living entity is 1/10,000 part of the tip of the hair. But the Lord is so inconceivably small that he enters into the heart of this particle. Therefore, he is called smaller than the smallest. As the supreme, he can enter into the atom and into the heart of the smallest and control him as the supersoul. Although so small, he is still all pervading and is maintaining everything. By him, all these planetary systems are sustained. We often wonder how these big planets are floating in the air. It is stated here that the Supreme Lord, by his inconceivable energy, is sustaining all these big planets and system of galaxies. The word Achintya is very significant in this connection. God's energy is beyond our conception, beyond our thinking jurisdiction, and is therefore called inconceivable, achintya. Who can argue this point? He pervades this material world and yet is beyond it. We cannot comprehend even this material world, which is insignificant compared to the spiritual world. So, how can we comprehend what is beyond this material world? Achintya means that which is beyond this material world and which our argument, logic, and philosophical speculation cannot even touch. That which is inconceivable. Therefore, intelligent persons avoiding useless arguments and speculation should accept what is stated in scriptures like Vedas, Bhagavad-gītā, and Srimad Bhagavatam and follow the principles they set down. This will this will lead one to understanding. So, in this way, in this verse, Krishna has explained Arjuna that um, how one can meditate upon Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, at the time of death. In the 10th shloka, also it is explained in this translation, one who at the time of death fixes his life hair between the eyebrows and by strength of yoga with an undeviating mind engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the purport, Prabhupada has explained, in this word it is clearly stated that at the time of death, the mind must be fixed in devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here in this shloka, Yoga Mishra Bhakti is explained. In the Bhakti Yoga, we focus on remembering the Supreme Lord at the time of death by chanting the names of the Lord. Or someone in our society also, we have observed that if someone is going to die, the devotees come and will chant the holy name for him, or um, some of his friend or family member, he will chant for him or read from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So at the time of death, the aim is that one should remember Krishna. Some or other, one should able to remember Krishna, and he will remember, or he or she will remember by chanting this holy name of the Lord. But here in this shloka, it is explained one who is the yoga practitioner, how he can remember the Krishna. But it should be in full devotion. That is also given, that with an undeviating mind, engaging himself, remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion. So we'll certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in the purport, in this verse, it is clearly stated that at the time of death, the mind must be fixed in devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For those practiced in yoga, it is recommended that they raise the life force between the eyebrows to the Ajna Chakra. The practice of Shat Chakra Yoga involving meditation on 6 chakras is suggested here. So, here in this yoga practitioner, Ashtanga Yoga Paddhati, there are 6 chakras from top to the bottom to the belly and genitals. The this chakra, the meditation should like we should fix. Just a minute. Yeah, they recommended that they raise the life force. So there is a life force air in our body. That life force we should elevate from the below the navel, from the genitals to the upper part. So from all these 6 chakras, we should keep it elevating from the bottom to the top. So how it will be possible for one who is in uh, devotion and one who is practicing yoga, he can do it well when he has control over the life force, control over the mind and everything. So for them, yoga mishra bhakti, it is explained here that when one should control over this air, a pure devotee does not practice such yoga. It is also explained here. But because he is always engaged in Krishna consciousness, at the time of death, he can remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his grace. This is explained in the verse 14 also. So here it is clearly mentioned that the devotees who are practicing, who are engaged in Krishna conscious activities every time, at the time of death, he can remember Krishna by the grace of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So only by the grace of the Supreme Lord we can remember Krishna. That is also given here. So this Yoga Mishra Bhakti, yoga practice is for the yoga practitioner. The particular use of the word yoga balena is significant in this verse because without practice of yoga, whether Shatchakra yoga or Bhakti yoga, one cannot come to the transcendental state of being at the time of death. So it is very important here that is explained without practicing the bhakti yoga is simplest process given by Srila Prabhupada to us, but there is Ashtanga Yoga Paddhati, that is Shat Chakra Yoga. By meditating and focusing on the life air and elevating it from the mm, genitals to the in between the eyebrows here, so elevating that life air, one should focus on the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full devotion. Then he can attain the Supreme Lord at the time of death. So one cannot come to the transcendental state of being at the time of death if one is not practicing yoga system. That may be Shatchakra yoga or Bhakti yoga. So Bhakti yoga is the simplest process given by Prabhupada, and one cannot suddenly remember the Supreme Lord at the time, and it will never happen that okay. Antakale cha mameva smaren yukta kalaram. Krishna told in 8.5 that at the time of death, remember me and I will take you, you will come to me. So one may think that okay, at the time of death now, why to practice? Why to every day wake up early in the morning and uh, headache ourselves? So better at the time of death, I will chant and I will go back to God. But no, it will never be possible. We don't know at the time of death how much anxiety we will have. at the time of death, entire picture, what we have done, is entire picture is like a flashback in front of us. And wherever we will feel, okay, this is good, this was good, I have practiced this, and this was good, then we may go there. If some sense gratificatory activity comes in between, and we have meditated upon it in at the time of death, then there we will go. So at the time of death, entire flashback will come, and where our mind goes, that will be our destination. So entire life picture will be shown in the trailer form. So we should be very careful while doing our activities in this world, because whatever we do, that will be flashback at the time of death. And at the time of death, wherever our mind will fix, there we will go. So one should meditate upon the Supreme Lord. That's why it is explained there. Anta kalecha mame smaren yuktva kalevaram. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that remember me at the time of death. It is a process of remembering at the time of death is explained in this shlokas. So one cannot suddenly remember the Supreme Lord at the time of that. One must have practiced some yoga system. So we are practicing what we are practicing? We are practicing Bhakti Yoga system. And in the Bhakti Yoga system, what is given? We are chanting every day, 16 rounds minimum, Prabhupada has given. Or otherwise, at least Lakapati we should be. Lakapati means we should chant at least 1 lakh holy names every day. 1 lakh means it will be 64 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So everyone should chant 64 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we have got the opportunity to chant at least 16 we should chant, but not less than that. So Haridas Thakur, Srila Haridas Thakur, who was a devotee of the Supreme Lord, in the previous life he was the Brahmaji. He used to chant 3 lakh names every day. So 3 lakh means 64, 64, 64. 192 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. So almost 20 hours out of 24 hours, he was chanting only. So we should at least chant 1 lakh name, not 1 lakh, at least 16 names we can chant in this busy age of Kali Yuga. So one must have practiced some yoga system, and that will be the Bhakti Yoga. We should practice this Bhakti Yoga with other limbs of Bhakti also. So there are 64 limbs. Out of that, 99.9% is based on our chanting. So how attentive we are chanting, we on that it will be dependent. Especially the system of Bhakti Yoga, one should practice. Since one's mind at the time of death is very disturbed, at the time of death, how much pain we get? Like lakhs of scorpions, they are biting us. If someone has the experience of bitten by scorpion, then they may feel the how much pain when the scorpion is biting us. So lakhs of scorpions, they are biting us at the time of death, and that much pain we'll have. And at that in that situation, we should remember Krishna. So it is very difficult. It is not at all possible to remember Krishna at the time of death. But when we practice remembering Krishna at every point of our life, and in our life, in our day-to-day life, when we practice remembering Krishna, so Krishna will make sure that he will make us to remember him. So we should not worry about it. When we practice every day sincerely, with attentively, we chant his holy name. So one should practice transcendence through yoga during one's life. So in our day-to-day life, when we practice this yoga or bhakti yoga process, then at the time of that, it is very easy to remember Krishna. So this only explains in these two shlokas. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Devotees, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.